What is going on, guys? Snack God here, back for another video, and today is a very important video, so I threw on my Snack God jacket right here for you guys. This is going to be me talking about candy selling in 2020 and candy selling predictions for the future and how I think things are going to go. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
What's poppin'? Brand new whip, just hopped in. I got options, I can pass that bitch like Stockton. Just joshing, I'm spending this holiday locked in. My body got rid of them toxins. Sports in the top 10. I can put the ball in the end zone, put a bad bitch in the friend zone. This shit sound like...
So first off, here's what I want to address. I want to talk about the concerns I have for candy selling and how I think it'll be affected by this long period of quarantine and the long period of many months we had off school. Now, one thing that I actually heard about is that when we get back to school, things are going to be a little different. Things aren't going to be the same as we used to be having back when we were like not in quarantine, right? So I had an email sent to me from the school, like administration, and all the students got it. It basically told us all the things that could possibly be happening, such as like half the size of classrooms, learning outside an environment, separating the grades into different areas of the school, not letting them like walk around too closely, having minimum learning hours per week, like maybe 3 hours of school time only for each student every week or something, or every day. I don't remember what it was like exactly, how people had to be 6 feet apart, wearing masks and all that stuff. And one of my concerns for that is mainly the candy selling part, right? Because this is what I'm kind of specified in. This is my channel. I talk about candy selling a lot. I teach you guys how to sell candy, and this is going to really counteract how we used to be doing it for like the past few years, right? We can't normally walk up to groups anymore and ask them to buy candy because it's going to be suspicious. And no one's gonna you're gonna get caught really easily if you do that, is what I'm saying, because you're supposed to be 6 feet apart wearing a mask, and if you approach a group, they're probably gonna try to separate you guys and keep you all kind of apart. And you can't be walking around with a duffel bag anymore because, well, I mean, schools, they probably won't have sports because of coronavirus. And even if it doesn't have coronavirus, then they still want to wait a while before everything dies down, basically. So sports are probably not going to start until later on in the year, or maybe not even later next year. But in 2021, hopefully sports come back so you can carry around a duffel bag. But in this case, if you can't carry around a duffel bag, you probably want to resort to only using a backpack. And this really affects your candy selling because, one, you can't bring as many things, and what that leads to is that you won't be able to make as much in a day, and number two, you won't be easily spotted as candy selling. But however, this does keep you undercover and you won't get caught. So there are pros and cons to it. However, I see this more of a loss than an actual W. So with that, I want to go on to the next topic. So the next part I want to address are the classroom sizes. What this kind of means is that they're going to cut the classroom sizes in half. So whether you had 30 students to start with, basically they're probably going to have only 15 students in each classroom. They're going to use the outside space that are opened up, not indoors, as like learning areas. They're going to use it to teach people, because we had to spread everyone out. If 30 people in a classroom, it's pretty crowded. If you guys know, high school especially, there's a lot of students in high schools, and you never know what's in those desks. It's really dirty, a lot of people in the classrooms. And they're also going to have separated areas specifically designated for teachers to be at, and students cannot go within that area. So with that said, how you can sell candy in class is kind of a lot harder now. Less students means more attention is going to be specified towards you, and what that also leads to, it means when there's more people paying attention to less students, you're more likely to get caught if you're moving around candy, passing it around to different people as the students on the desk. And what this also means is that you're going to have less time to sell in classes too. As you guys remember, maybe I mentioned earlier, you're going to have less learning hours every week required to be inside a classroom or at school. You're going to be doing more of your homework and learning at home. So it's going to be more evened out. It's not going to be everything at school like it used to be, where you spend 6 and 7 hours at school learning. That's going to really affect your candy selling. Now, this part is kind of where I have a little bit of a counter to, fight back against that. So what you could do is you can still carry around a backpack, you can still carry around candy and stuff like that, right? And you are carrying way less, but keep in mind that this is all happening for your own safety until everything's over. And what you could do is you could sell stuff before school and after school still, because then the classroom, they don't really matter. When you leave the school, the school rules don't really apply to you. There's no more classrooms, there's no more like break times, and there's no staff like in charge of you anymore, right? So technically you can still sell after school and before school. Now the only thing that's worse is that most students are probably going to be going home after school because they don't really want to stick around school anymore, knowing with all the stuff that's going around. But we'll have to see how bad the situation is by the time September rolls around and when schools are starting back up again. Now those are the things I'm concerned about, right? But here's what I have an idea for. instead of just selling candy and you know, chips and soda now, you can also go to school and you could sell your own masks. Like, you don't have to sell these specific type of masks, but you can get custom masks online. You could probably find a place to print your own masks and then make them, you know, order them online and then ship them to your house, and then you can flip them for more. So with that being said, it's another business idea that you could start up at your school, but I do recommend trying to get into it early, because if you're not the first one to start selling masks at your school, I really think that someone's going to steal the idea and then they're not going to take your business. However, you could beat them like any other way, by lowering your prices and having better deals, being the better salesman, and, you know, always having more inventory. Remember, you just gotta have what people need and they'll come to you always. Last but not least, I want to talk about what affects you other than just the schools you go to. All right, so I don't really have a specific ranking, but here's kind of the most important ones I have in mind right now. Recently, the economy has been tanking a little bit from all the stuff that's been going on around the world, and the US dollar, the fiat currency, has been losing a little bit of its value. So I recommend reinvesting into something else that's going to hold better value over time and not going to keep, you know, going down and as inflation goes up, it's going to go down and depreciate, right? So anyways, what you want to do is, this affects you personally, all right? It affects each individual of you. When you go to a store, right, and you buy candy you buy, you gotta make sure you're not buying it too early, because at this time you don't know what's gonna happen yet. I recommend holding off, not even until September time. Don't even buy it at September. I recommend holding it off until like late December 2021, early times, to start getting into selling candy, because when everything's getting better, well, okay, honestly, it could be earlier, but I don't think it's gonna really recover that fast yet. I think it's gonna take a little more time, and it honestly depends on when the economy recovers, but that's when you should really be buying into it, because this doesn't affect just you, because the sales also is part of the customers. You know, you have to get customers with money, right? If they have no money, right? If they're not working, if the parents aren't giving them allowance, and if they have no sources of income, how are they gonna buy your candy? If the economy is bad, right, and you're buying the candy and you're losing value, you're gonna return the candy and you're not gonna make any money from it, okay? So don't do that, right? Just hold it off. Do not buy the candy right off the bat as soon as school starts, thinking it's gonna be the same as every other year. I go in there, carry my backpack, fill it with candy, and approach everything. I don't think it's going to sell that well. I think that you're going to have to hold off a bit first. Not just that, let's say even schools don't have all those rules now. They have all the regulations are now off. They have it back to normal. They have full-size classrooms. But the thing is, they're not, even if you are able to approach people don't want to be approached by you. We have to understand that people want to be social distance too. Like, some people might be like wanting to buy candy still, but they don't want you like getting so close to them and like you touching the money and then you handed the money to them and then, like, you know, you shake your hand, or you know, you give them your candy bar and then they touch your candy bar. They don't want to be like that close to people, right? That's one thing you gotta remember. So even if everything was allowed, people would still want to keep a safe distance, just because, you know, it's always better to be safe than sorry, and it's always good to, you know, they want to just, like, you know, stay safe, right? So it's good to keep that distance and keep the practicing going. So if people ignore you and decline you, just remember that there's a reason for it. It's not because they don't want to buy all the time. Maybe they don't have any money, or maybe they're just trying to stay safe. Wait after this all dies down, and that's when you should be buying your candy from big sales like Costco and Sam's Club and, you know, Grocery Outlet and Smart and Final. Just save to the very end of this very year. All right, so I'm gonna wrap this video with giving my opinions, final thoughts on what the situation is gonna be. Because then again, this video is titled predictions and, you know, how I think it's gonna go in 2020 and later on future. And in my opinion, I think candy selling has really good potential. You know, it hasn't died yet. It's been a staple for many years of how kids in high school can make money, kids in school in general, and it's not gonna die down. It's gonna keep going. It's gonna tank a little bit, meaning it's gonna stop and it's gonna slow down just a little bit, and you're gonna notice that it's not gonna be as good as it once was. But after all this happens, I honestly think it's gonna be better than it was before. Because due to the long period of a drought, you know, people aren't buying that much stuff. They haven't had it in a while. I think it's gonna boom again once you get it going, and once everybody's, you know, back to normal. It's just that you gotta wait through this period of a storm. Once you wait for the storm to go away, it's gonna go back up. It's gonna be sunny. It's gonna be good, right? Very positive. So yeah, all in all, it's not gonna be that bad. It's just gonna be worse for a little bit, and after that, it's gonna go back to normal. Because honestly, I think that I see more and more people getting into selling candy. Like, every day I read the comments you guys leave on my videos saying how you're in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, high school, whatever year, you're getting started in selling candy and you're making this much money a day, or you started, now you're making this much every month, and now you're trying to sell more candy, and now you're trying to tell people to sell candy too. A lot of people are doing it. There's probably at least a candy seller in every school now, honestly. I'm not surprised. It's a growing business, and it's a lot of things kids can do, because there's young entrepreneurs out there that want to make their money. And with that being said, if there's always people wanting to make money, it's never gonna die, guys. Come on, keep it alive. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Peace out and good luck.
That was happening, like what's happening?
that's me like Croatia, and I'm Rakitic. Started off with a camera, cause nobody else saw the picture. Times my earnings by 13, get my bank account a bar mitzvah.